Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Back then, when I was not FIDE rated, I used to go to higher rated players and ask them how to improve. And in return, I just got two words: study chess. And I was so confused about the meaning of these two terms. I asked ChatGPT to explain me this. And all ChatGPT does is to tell me things that I already knew. It was same about preparation of openings, preparation of end games, playing more games, analyzing over the board, have a computer analysis, and these general terms we already knew. What makes these higher rated players different than us? So I went to a coach and asked him, please tell me this. What is the meaning of studying chess? And there I got my answer. There are different theory lines have been studied or generated in past years by different chess champions. So if your opponent plays in a certain way, you have to respond in some way to either minimize their advantage or get yourself in a better position. But how do you do that? This is exactly what we are going to discuss. It gets more difficult to realize when you are playing with black a tempo down. Or so-called you have this in your conscience to play with white and you have memorized what move to play and what are the general ideas. But when you play with black, white has different options to play. And then you have to play according to white what they are playing. And your plan is to cancel or nullify the advantage they have got for being a tempo up. Your opponent has lots of ideas. He can either go for Italian, he can go for Ruy Lopez, maybe a center attack, and so many options. How do you differentiate it and to understand general plans for different lines of different openings is the chess study. That is the same that goes for endgames. At around 800 even to 1200 ELOs, you will find this move queen to h5 very frequently, going for a scholar's mate. So scholar's mate is basically when your queen is at queen h5 and white plays his bishop at c4, and then they are collaborating to attack on f7, and if black fails to see this threat, it'll just be checkmated in few moves. So basically you want to study chess because you don't want to be checkmated in two moves. Moving forward, how do you respond to it? Now, what is the threat here? What are the plans for white you have to understand? Just when you play g6, queen will simply go and grab at e5. Gives you a check and attacks your rook at the same time, and then you will be a rook down and you will lose this match. And frankly speaking, in my early days, I lost many matches on this move because I didn't knew how to respond to this move. Now after this video, I assure you, you'll get through each move, and I'm not even asking you to memorize the moves. I'll make you understand and go through it one by one. Now we know at this moment we do not have g6 as an option because we know this is losing. Basic understanding says when your queen is going to capture at e5, you have to defend it. You can defend it by simply pushing d6, getting your bishop at f6 and your knight at c6. Let's just differentiate all this. If you put your bishop on d6, yes, you are defending this pawn, but you are hindering your d7 pawn to move forward and then your bishop as well. So this is not a good move. Let's talk about d6. d6 is a very solid move and has been played so many times at grandmasters level even. But what it does, keeps your bishop in the nets. And the best move, and my recommendation at this position, is knight to c6. Simply guarding this pawn at e5. And now if you get a chance, the plan is to go f6 and attack the queen. Now if white has played queen h5 in the opening, he is most likely to play bishop to c4 because he is going for scholar's mate. 99% of the moves you will find this at right on the third move because they are threatening your mate on f7. You have to cut one of those lines to avoid getting mated. And what is the best way to do it? Attack the queen. Now g6 works here very nicely. Simple g6 and attacking the queen. Now you get an extra tempo because queen has to move back. So queen goes to f3, again threatening your mate. And just when we are talking about playing with black, you don't have to get over smart and play d4 attacking the queen, because that way you will simply, white will play queen f7 check and that would be mate. So now we know why queen to d4 is losing. How do we proceed from here? And the best way is to develop something. What best could happen if you can defend the attack and can develop at the same time? And also in this position you can see knight to d4 is in the air attacking the queen. So white plays c3. Why? white has a plan not to let you play knight d4, attacking this queen. Simple. And also planning to go d4 himself. Now, as soon as you see that there's no mate attack on the black, you simply put your bishop on g7. Why? Because it's a long diagonal. Your bishop is sitting here, cutting board in two halves, and approx 99% of time. At this position, white would play d3 and want to put his bishop on g5, making this pin. At this position, you want to get rid of this bishop because it is eyeing towards f7. And your plan is to go to a5 and just nullify this attack by taking this bishop. How? The bishop has to move either to b3. And if he leaves there, you just take the bishop here and kind of double the pawns on c file and also kind of ruin the structure that white have. Also, white has his king at the center and very vulnerable to attacks. Now, white would understand that you're going for the cancellation of bishop, so he plays simply bishop b5. But now you can castle. Why? Your king is safe now, and you do not have to worry about any mate threats in the future. And you have ideas of playing maybe a6, c6, attacking the bishop. Bishop has to go back, and then you can attack b4 and get so many tempos on the bishop. And white would play bishop g5, going for the pin, and then you can attack the bishop on the h file. Now you're asking the bishop, would you like to take this knight here? Because that will simply allow you to develop a queen to f6. And when the queen captures you to get your bishop, and you will get a good advantage in the opening. Not only you are able to cancel out the advantage of being a tempo up for the white, you are actually doing good here. Black is better. So white chooses not to take the knight and help you develop. So you simply push and ask the bishop to retreat again. And bishop moves to g3. And now simple theory. When opponent's king in center, what do? You rip off the file. You make your files open. You attack the king. And that is why you go for d5. Going for the center. You want to rip open it because you have castled and your opponent has not. You have a queen lying around. You may be coming to e file with the rook and attack the king here. Your bishop is ready to develop. And there are so many threats white has to deal at this moment. I know you have a question that e5 is hanging. The bishop can simply come and grab it. But in this position, by simply playing all these moves, getting a plan, having a study, we have put ourselves in a situation we are not much concerned about pieces. A pawn here and there won't matter much. So bishop simply comes and takes at e5 and then c6. Why? Again asking a question to this bishop. What would you do? Now bishop goes back and then you take at e4, threatening to take the queen. Of course, white has to take back by the decutting e4, and then you get a wonderful positional understanding at this position. When you have studied this game, you know that your knight has been stuck at a5 since a long time, and this is the point where you take it back in the game by playing knight to c4. Not only you are threatening this bishop here, you are threatening to take this pawn here, and after taking this pawn, you are threatening to take the bishop as well. And white is going down.